Today we're talking about this thing here, which might not be the most beautiful airplane in the world, but it's definitely very useful for Japan, the country of Gundam and Samurai. You can choose the order you prefer. In fact, on March 17th, the new Kawasaki electronic Countermeasures 2 electronic warfare aircraft made its first flight, and you've probably seen photos of it on specialized websites. So I asked Paolo Mari, a military analyst, to give us a hand. In this episode, we're taking off. First of all, the electronic Countermeasures 2 is a long-range electronic jamming aircraft, a standoff jammer for the more technical among you, meaning it's capable of directly engaging electronic warfare systems of the enemy while staying at a safe distance. These aircraft are essential for ensuring operations in crisis areas, and in the coming days, we'll dedicate a specific episode together with Leonardo Lanzara. An aircraft like this can, for example, jam enemy air defense radars, reduce the effectiveness of surface-to-air missile systems, thus helping the survival of Allied aircraft, disrupt military communication networks, and interfere with navigation and targeting sensors. Finally, as mentioned, it can support aircraft during air combat missions and the suppression of enemy air defenses. These dynamics I have just summarized are all things we've seen in the Middle East in recent weeks, and in some cases they become a cornerstone, where ground systems can no longer be useful for various reasons, including of course their damage or destruction. Going back to the aircraft to fulfill these roles. On this aircraft, large appendages have been installed on the nose, the rear, and the sides of the fuselage, which house antennas. These significantly alter the otherwise clean aerodynamic profile of the aircraft it is based on, which is the Kawasaki EC-2 tactical transport aircraft. If you remember, we also talked about this kind of appendages in relation to the aircraft that serves as a tester for the future G-Cup systems. So, it's a sort of prosthesis to be installed on aircraft that were originally designed with a different appearance. This part isn't very technical, I hope it gives you the idea, but I added it myself, it's not really relevant. Good old Paolo Mari. The new aircraft was first spotted at the Gifu Aerodynamics base in February 2026. Parked on the apron just a few days before its first flight, it was observed performing taxi tests at both low and high speeds. According to rumors leaked by the specialized press, Japan intends to put 4 of these electronic warfare aircraft into service, which will replace the only electronic countermeasures, one that has been in service since 1986 and was retired in 2025. All the new aircraft will be assigned to the Electronic Warfare Operations Group, a specialized unit based at Hiruma Air Base, northwest of Tokyo. Japan plans to invest about 41.4 billion yen, which is around 2.26 billion euros in the production of the new aircraft. As part of a broader project aimed at developing equipment capable of constantly collecting, processing, and analyzing continuous information, particularly regarding military trends near Japan. We should mention at least one other derivative of the C2, namely the RC2 for Helint Electronic Intelligence and SIGINT Signal Intelligence. So let's take a closer look at this aircraft with a silhouette. So we were talking about the Reconnaissance 2, another variant of the C2. This aircraft has been modified with fuselage protrusions similar to those of the C2 but smaller in size. And currently, it's not clear what kind of specialized equipment has been installed. It will probably involve various antennas and arrays for broadband receivers supported by signal processing hardware. These will allow the Reconnaissance 2 platform to collect and analyze signals coming from the emission sources of a party, of a counterpart, in order to determine the electronic order of battle. The Reconnaissance 2 was also spotted for the first time during tests at Gifu Air Base. I don't know how it's pronounced in Japanese, but a few years ago, in February 2018, the aircraft replaced the old YS-11EBs, which were retired in 2021, a year after the official entry into service of the Reconnaissance 2. According to the Japanese Ministry of Defense budget, a single SIGINT Reconnaissance 2 aircraft is valued at 2.7 billion yen. Okay, we went a bit off topic, but let's get back to the C2S. The Japan Air Self-Defense Force, on the occasion of the Reconnaissance 2's debut, stated in a post on X that it will continue to work towards its introduction. In order to improve capabilities in the electromagnetic domain and strengthen cross-domain operational abilities, the Reconnaissance 2 program is divided into two phases, focused respectively on the integration of new capabilities and their refinement. With a testing completion timeline set for the current fiscal year, service entry is expected around March 2027. Although the onboard electronic suite is not known, it is assumed that the equipment will include components inherited from the electronic countermeasures, ones such as the JLQ-5 electronic countermeasure system and advanced radio wave measurement systems. Now, as mentioned, the electronic countermeasures 2 and Reconnaissance 2 are derived from the Kawasaki EC-2 tactical transport aircraft. Therefore, Paolo Mauri tried to give us a technical outline of this aircraft. The aircraft is powered by two General Electric turbofan engines, and its maximum speed is Mach 0.82. The service ceiling is 12,200 meters, while the range is about 7,600 kilometers with a standard payload. Please note, roughly speaking, the large protrusions alter the aerodynamic profile of the aircraft, and therefore in this case will have resulted in slightly lower maximum speed and range values. Electronic countermeasures 2 and Reconnaissance 2 are designed to operate at high altitudes to increase the range of the onboard antennas and the endurance of the platforms. It allows for prolonged regional patrols without in-flight refueling. It's useful to remember that the C-2, which entered service in 2016, is now present in 18 units for Japan, in addition to other jet transport aircraft. A four-engine aircraft like the C-17 is, however, significantly larger than the Embraer's C-390, and it has an almost equivalent capacity to the Airbus A400M, offering higher cruising speed, service ceiling, and range. A small side note, Japan has successfully tested the United States Air Force's Rapid Dragon capability on the C-2. The launch of cruise missiles mounted on pallets with parachutes dropped from the cargo bay of transport aircraft. Going back to the SIGINT and Daling electronic warfare versions of the C-2, it is interesting to note that Japan's budget for the fiscal year 2026 emphasizes the importance of gaining superiority in the electromagnetic spectrum, stating that the spectrum has become the front line of attack and defense in modern conflict. Indeed, without eyes, a nose, and ears, a person can do very little. This plane definitely has a nose. This new posture is definitely more assertive even compared to that of the Cold War. It responds to the need to counter the increasing Chinese activity in the field of electronic warfare, and more generally in having electronic warfare tools capable of disrupting enemy assets. The idea is also to be able to compensate for a possible withdrawal or non-involvement of similar American capabilities that are usually made available to Tokyo. Japan, in conclusion, is making rapid progress toward greater independence in all the assets needed on the battlefield, with a particular focus on the electromagnetic spectrum in the aerospace domain. Let us know if there are other platforms you would like us to cover in more detail, besides the railgun, which I'm sure I'll find in the comments. So I remind you to leave a like, share this video, and also consider subscribing. This way I can also buy myself a computer that doesn't explode if I want to control, how do you say, Gifu or Gifu? See you soon here on Gens Italia with some news.